Like, is it, so it's not always going to be floating, or not only going to be tanks, it's going to be like what
Like pipe,
you
like
tell me. I
pipelines,
don't, actually don't, I couldn't, I'm usually good at like, it's going to be dolphin enclosures. Like, I'm usually good at coming up with it, and I had nothing. And so like, what do you guys, where do you go next?
Man, welcome to the intro. No need for introductions. All about the world and the world what we discussing. Where every single thought that we had came from something. So it's funny that we made it when we started here with nothing. Gotta open up your mind just to find out why. When you lost inside the dark, just gotta turn on the light. And no matter what you do, you never run from a fight. Because we fighting to be better, and that's why we strive.
Hi, I'm Corey McCain, CEO of We Strive, the #1 platform for personal trainers, gym owners, and coaches to both manage and scale their business. I'm your host for Why We Strive, where every Tuesday I sit down with some of the most incredible tech founders, investors, and creatives to find out how, when, where, and why they strive. Be sure you tune in every single Tuesday and check us out at whywestrive.com for more info. Now, let's get to this week's episode. So we got a badass robotics founder here in Austin, Texas. We're in the Texas Robotics, which I'm going to ask you about in a little bit. Connor, do you want to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, for sure. Hi, I'm Connor Crawford. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Pike Robotics. Been working on this technology for the last 3 years while pursuing my master's degree here at UT Austin as mechanical engineering focused in robotics. So came from Lockheed Martin as a design engineer over there, and realized I wanted to have my own thing. It's kind of hard to have your own thing when you're building $90 million aircraft. So
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if you want to have your own business, you want to be financially independent, you want to make an impact on the world, you don't want to just be a cog in a machine. I was like, I gotta all the fun work. Lockheed was funding graduate students to go do a lot of autonomous drone work, and
Very cool.
And I was like, that's all the grad students are doing the fun work, so I want to go back to grad school and do some fun work.
Nice.
So that's kind of why I went back and worked on this graduate research project for a couple of years, and then we saw there was a potential for commercializing it. And so we took some business classes, put on my MBA hat for a little bit, and then I went to kept it going, and here we are. We're looking at raising some fund, getting some fundraising, and continuing this runway, so I don't have to go get a real job anytime soon.
Nice, man. Dude, I didn't realize you were doing your master's, and it's funny because we this is like, you're going to be episode 13, I believe, and you're the second Lockheed Martin ex-employee we've had on the podcast. So
That doesn't bode well for their attention.
Oh, I know. Well, it was Rise. So the Rise, he's like head of ops now. He was ex Lockheed Martin. Talked the same way as you did. Like, there you go. Very military.
I guess we had that AVA thing.
Yeah.
What was that? That was not the hotel, but it's like the restaurant that was over there by West Campus.
Yeah. Whatever that was. Yeah. Like the big outdoor area outside. Yeah.
You couldn't hear anybody.
Exactly.
Upstairs, exactly.
Most events out here. But very cool, man. Wait, so when you're in your master's program, how many hours a week are you spending CEOing, and how many hours are you spending as a student?
Oh, I love that question. Well, I have all my credits like for school wise at this point. So
Gotcha.
It's pretty much all CEO. It's pretty much
Okay. When does your master's end then technically? Like, how does that work?
So I'm working on my thesis.
Oh, cool. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's what is a thesis in robotics? What does that mean?
Yeah. So you're basically just going through you're documenting all the experiments you did, the conclusions from those experiments.
Okay.
So you're the whole point of it is so other graduate students, when they come down the line, they have some source material to look at.
Gotcha.
So when they're not just starting from scratch. So a lot of graduate students, the first thing the professor will tell them is go read this literature from this student that came before, and so that's the last thing on my radar. But it's all CEO. I got a great co-founder in my Dr. Mitch Fryer at UT Austin. He runs the nuclear and applied robotics lab there for the last 17 years.
So cool.
And he's kind of helped me kind of keep this train going, and there's even potential kind of down the line to hopefully spin out some other technologies from the lab that we're working on, because we hate to see like robots do like a graduate project that's like funded by industry, and then they just die in the lab. They don't go anywhere. So I think it'd be cool if we could have some kind of company that we're focusing on our beachhead market, but it'd be cool to have some kind of company that helps to get these technologies out of the lab and into the commercial space.
Kind of like a robots incubator kind of vibe.
Basically,
Very cool.
That's my pipe dream down there.
Hey, there you go.
Pipe dream, no pun intended.
There you go, man. Very cool. Yeah. Wait, does UT have equity in Pike Robotics then, or how does that work when you're building it at the school?
Yeah, it's a very opportune question, because we're at an timely question, I should say, because we are currently in talks with their Office of Technology Commercialization, signing an option to license. We have like the terms of the option, and so we're going through that process with the lawyers right now.
Does that mean that options to license? Does that mean that like they have an option to get some of your shares, or like they're going to invest for that, or like they're saying they're already invested because you use the property, or what?
Yeah, a little bit of both. They some of the terms is they and I'm not going to talk about
exactly. Legal.
They do get, so their UT is very founder friendly, and so they even help spin out this Texas Innovation Center in the Cockrell School of Engineering that really helps graduate students kind of spin out these technologies from the labs they're in. So they do want to take some equity. They do want to have like a
rightfully so.
Yeah. No, we wouldn't be here without them. Exactly. If I had a bad experience, I wouldn't be wearing
exactly. Yeah.
But no, they're great. They want a little bit of royalty. They want just kind of just kind of be part of us, and I think they've even asked us about having first participation rights for when we actually do our raise. You know?
Yeah, I think it just like, I think there's some investors or whatever you want to call them that are just good to have on your cap table. Like even if they had 5-10%, whatever it is, like it's just, you're like, oh, you have the University of Texas on your cap table. It's like, it's a pretty good, like,
we don't mind giving away a little bit of equity just to have that name on it. So,
exactly, man. Plus like just future rights, like all the investments or intros they're going to give you, all the like just mentor connections, advisory, like future potential, like, projects you can do at UT and all that stuff. Like it kind of just locks you into, being a part of that. That's really cool. I'm assuming you went to UT for undergrad?
No, I
damn.
I did. No, I did. I went to the Air Force Academy for a little bit.
Gotcha.
And then I realized military was not for the entrepreneurial minded.
That was the thing with the Rise podcast. Colby did the same thing.
He did the same thing?
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, to be honest, I learned a lot from my time there. Wouldn't do it again. Okay. I'll tell you that much. Air Force Academy is a little different crowd over there. But
gotcha.
But I got to do some cool stuff. I got to jump out of airplanes. Got to go to Ukraine to learn Russian. Got to meet a lot of 4-star generals and fly gliders, and it was a cool experience.
Cool.
I ended up going to Texas Tech to finish up, which a lot of the UT Longhorns out there listening to this, Tech beat them the week before last, and so they kind of put their championship dreams to a stop there.
Yep.
But now, so I worked with Lockheed Martin for a little bit, and then after Texas Tech, and now I'm here at UT. I've always wanted to come here, but it just finally got here.
Are you Texas, like from Texas then, or what?
Yeah, east of Dallas, a little town called Tyler.
Tyler. Well, you said it too. A little town called Tyler.
Sorry.
Is that Friday Night Lights, like where it's supposed to be based in, or no?
What is
Tyler, Texas?
A lot of people do ask about that. I think it made me think about Taylor, Texas. So Taylor, Texas is close to Pflugerville, where they filmed Friday Night Lights.
Oh, okay, Taylor. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
Lila Garrity was probably my crush back in the day.
Fair enough.
She was a cheerleader on that show.
Fair enough. Well, I know it was filmed around this area, but I didn't know it was like, I thought it was Tyler. But yeah, I never really watched the show, to be honest. It's on my list. I'm getting to it. It's
a good show to kind of watch with a girlfriend or something like that.
There you go.
It's one of those shows. Yeah.
There you go. I'll tell my girlfriend. Brex is the all-in-one financial toolkit for every scaling business. With products built for scrappy startups, expanding mid-market companies, and large international enterprises, Brex has a suite of financial products that caters to the uniqueness of your business. If you're a founder or overseeing spend in a large organization, Brex keeps your team spending within policy, on budget, and housed in a single dashboard, saving you time, money, and stress. With everything from free interest-yielding bank accounts and corporate cards to expense management and budgeting and so much more. Brex is your go-to all-in-one financial platform for scaling your business. So yeah, you guys have been split. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. You guys spun out of the what is it? The nuclear and applied robotics group. So can you kind of dive a little bit further into what that means? Like, is it just like for students? Is it a master's thing? Is it like there's 100 companies? Like, what is that? What is that at UT?
What does it look like to have a company at UT?
Well, that too, but what is the nuclear and applied robotics like? What does that encompass? Like a bunch of companies? Like what does that mean?
So the lab, we basically specialize in the kind of automation of dull, dirty, and dangerous tasks. So
I like that. Dude. That's good. Did you say SaaS? Is that what you said?
No, tasks.
Okay. Gotcha. Oh, gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
No, SaaS. You say SaaS. So a lot of people ask about our business model, and it's ours is RAS, for Robot as a Service.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like the new term that's being used around. But the nuclear and applied robotics, I'll say NRG. They like I said, Dr. Pryor spun it out about 17 years ago. Started at UT after he got his PhD there and was teaching. And so he gets funding from like companies and industry. And also government. So a lot of what we do is make it easier to inspect and maintain different facilities across a number of industries. So nuclear facilities in New Mexico is one.
That's one of your personal target markets, or that's what the program works with?
So it's a group of like 17 graduate students.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's what we're at now. And so each of those graduate students, including me, got a certain project to work on. And they were funded by either the government, or they were funded by an oil and gas company, or they were funded by some other kind of company that has a need for robots to improve their operations.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of the way it goes. And we've got a number of inspection maintenance platforms across kind of the world. There's one in this big natural gas producer in Australia where they actually teleoperate the robot that actually turns valves and checks gauges.
Nice.
So nice. And so we can actually control that. There's a student in our lab who can actually control that from her place in Dallas, and then we can do it in Australia. So
that's pretty cool.
So yeah, it's a great lab, and we're kind of expanding into a lot of other applications. DoD as well. Army has invested a lot of money into the lab, and also the Texas robotics program in general. So yeah.
And then so we'll get to your actual company. So what does Pike Robotics do?
Yeah. So we're providing a next-gen robotic solution for inspection of in-service floating roof storage tanks. And these are like the big petrochemical storage tanks, the big 150-foot diameter tanks that you see off to the side of the road that are holding crude oil and gasoline and any other product that produces like a light hydrocarbon. And that light hydrocarbon it's like methane is an example. And so these floating roof tanks, they have this seal that prevents the methane from escaping the tank.
Gotcha.
And so these seals, they fail over time just due to wear and tear. And so we come in and provide inspection. So like right now, they have teams of like human crews that go in, like a team of 5. You have like 2 people doing inspection, 1 person spotting, and then you have 2 rescue personnel on standby, ready to come in case there's an incident. So if there's like a respiratory incident, someone loses oxygen or they pass out. Like
you're getting like this direct methane hit, like just gotcha. Okay,
yeah.
So, not ideal.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's fine, but that's like the thing that I think we have the most. The impact that we can have on this industry is like eliminating
unnecessary what was that? What are the results of that? Like, I don't know, it's better word, but like, is it like long-term, like lung disease, or like what can happen if you just get like fucking hit by methane? Like,
yeah, no, I mean, you can pass out and you can die if you don't have oxygen within a few minutes. So,
gotcha.
But there's also tripping and falling hazards associated with it. But there's a stat I like to say a lot, I like to use a lot, is there were 1,300 deaths from confined space entry since like 2011.
Jeez.
And like 205 involved storage storage tank interiors. And so anything we can do to kind of keep the human out of the space, we're going to do that. And so our solution uses a robotic wall crawling vehicle to use magnets to hold itself to the wall.
Okay.
And it drives down the tank, and we have another mechanism that opens up the seal, allowing the robot to insert the sensor package inside, and then the robot drives around the tank and collects the data about the integrity of the seal. And so we have we use visual methods, we use physical probe method, and we also use a LiDAR-based method to look at the integrity of the seal. And so we basically perform the inspection, then we give the results to the tank owner, and they decide if a repair is needed or not. And
yeah, we always say, what I love is that because I had Colby and Jack on, I now know what LiDAR is, and like, well, I feel like you guys have the exact same product, but well, obviously it's different, but like yours is on land doing like these tanks, and theirs is doing airplanes as a drone. Like it's like but the same concept, right? You're both making sure that like the product you're evaluating is safe for use, essentially. Like,
yeah, sure.
Very cool.
Yeah, so our whole thing is kind of reducing the cost of these inspections. Also improving the accuracy. Kind of right now, it's a very subjective inspection, and so we're actually quantifying the integrity of the seal, looking at the fabric, any fabric tears, the gap between the seal and the wall, any corrosion that's there as well. And so we're really excited to what we can offer, kind of in terms of improved accuracy, reduced cost, improved safety, just overall easier way to do these inspections. And that's our beachhead market with these floating roof storage tanks. And we'll move on to other use cases that are a big pain point for these customers.
Well, that's a good segue. What is like is it, so it's not always going to be floating, or not only going to be tanks, it's going to be like what you tell me. I couldn't. I'm usually good at like, it's going to be dolphin enclosures. Like, I'm usually good at coming up with it, and I had nothing. And so like, where do you go next?
Yeah, no. So I mean, tanks and pipelines and boiler rooms and other pressure vessels, heat exchanger, heating stacks. Just any kind of asset or like hard physical asset that is in one of these refineries or one of these facilities that needs to have eyes on it or needs to have some kind of ultrasonic testing of it to see if there's any cracks or any corrosion in it that would cause a big delay in the operation of these facilities.
Okay.
And so that's what when we do our customer discovery interviews, we're asking them, I was like, hey, we know these tanks are a problem for you, inspecting them, but what else is
what
there?
else you got? Yeah.
And so
your bathroom's dirty, we got a drone. What do you
we get like,
we do everything.
Yeah, well, not yet. We got that's one of the, I went to this Texas energy weekend in Houston last week, and it was put on by MIT and Greentown Labs. And, their big thing was focus on your beachhead market, right?
Of course.
Don't try to spread yourself too thin. Pick your niche and stay with it, and then you can expand from there.
That's a big thing we have on this podcast. That's like, I talk to every founder about that, because I made that mistake for so many years, which is like why it's taken us this long to finally hit growth. Is like I'd be like, oh yeah, we can do that for you. We can do that for you. Yeah, we got this. And then now I'm like, nope, we're focused on gyms. Everyone else can fuck off. That's all we care about.
No one to say no.
Like literally, it's
protect your time.
We've had some people on the podcast that have turned down like multi-million-dollar deals because they weren't gonna lead them to like the billion-dollar direction. Like it's important, man. So what is your, I know you're CEO, but like actually I'll take a step back. What is your co-founder's role? Because he's a professor, there's 17 students. Is he like, I know he's a co-founder literally, but like, is he a true day-to-day co-founder, or is he more like a really, really, really impactful advisor?
Yeah. So, he's not like on the day-to-day.
Yeah.
And we are looking actually for anyone out there are looking for a good business co-founder so that I can get back in the lab and get to doing what I like. Not that I don't like doing all these PR stunts.
I mean, it's not what you're made to do, man. It's like I just, like, I'm our CEO, but like I just offboarded all of our accounting and financials to someone, and I'm like, oh yeah, I should never be.
I should never be doing that.
That was a fucking waste of my time. Like I need to be like handling partnerships and growth and all this. And it's like I don't know why I was ever fucking dealing with that shit. Like
using like Gusto or that kind of.
Well, we're using Gusto, but I hired like an accountant to like manage that stuff, and I'm hiring an HR person to manage the Gusto and the payroll and all that stuff. So it's like, so I don't have to. One day I was sitting there and I have my accounting degree, so I'm like, I know how to do it, and I was doing like our little fucking QuickBooks, and I'm like, why am I doing this? It's like, what a waste of my time to be doing. So I moved it off, and she like, this chick's so good, and she sends me a like our P&L sheet and our balance sheet and our fucking cash flow, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, sick, cool, like done.
This is worth whatever you paid.
In my inbox. Yeah. Like fucking So anyway, sorry, a quick vent, but
that's all we do is vent.
that's all we don't do anything else. That's a half of our CEO job. So what tasks do you hate? Like besides accounting, like you can be blunt too. Like, are you just like, I fucking hate fundraising because I hate fundraising? Like what do you not like about being a CEO?
Yeah, well, I mean, some of it's fine. Let me go back to the one question. So, Dr. Pryor, he's
oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
our lead like technical advisor.
Yeah.
On the project. So a lot of the solutions that kind of we have for how we're solving this problem kind of had been his brainchild. So,
okay, cool.
And he just tasked me on like, all right, go make this happen.
Yeah.
So, so we're a really good team, and we're looking for someone to kind of take the kind of the weight off our shoulders a little bit, so that like, we can focus on the things we're good at. So back to your other question, you said what would I be doing on the if I didn't have any,
if you didn't have to do it, what task would you get rid of from your life? I guess is a better way to put it.
When I started down this route with the so Van Truscott and Ashley Jennings, they really helped us out. Helped us out with kind of getting this started, and obviously needed a pitch deck. And so,
nice. Yeah, classic, dude. What tool did you start with? Like Canva or PowerPoint?
I do use Canva.
Okay, good.
It's a great tool. I do still have my main master deck in the PowerPoint.
Dude,
I know.
Put it in Canva.
I know. It's just one of those. It's one of those things that I'm gonna. It's on the plan, but it's right now. We it's not a high priority. There's all these different priorities for
of course.
So now PowerPoint, but I use Canva. We have our technology brochure that we use in Canva. So it's a great tool. I love Canva. Canva's out there. It's free.
I want you to sponsor us, Canva. Whatever.
Free ad.
We got a sick Breck sponsor for this episode. It's great for a card, but like we need a design sponsor too. We want both. We want you pay with Brex and then you design on Canva.
Yeah, exactly.
Thought you guys Brex and Canva need to talk.
Partnership. What else would I hate? That's a great. This is a venting session. Right? So, my revenue model. My 5-year operating model.
Okay.
Every time
I love doing that shit.
Bullshit.
I love doing that.
Talking about outsourcing.
I mean, it's all bullshit. It's like what
assumptions do you want to make?
It's like, we're going to be doing this much in 5 years. Okay, have fun. Like, cool. Like it's then I hate when investors ask for a 5-year revenue plan. I'm like, it's fake. Anyway,
I guess they want to see how good you are at bullshit.
Exactly. Yeah.
One of those is when I went to the MIT and Greentown Labs thing last weekend, they were like, the guy said spun with spreadsheets. That's what he called it.
Oh, nice.
You can it's like, I'm going to have this much market cap here by this
Exactly.
So that's another one. What else do I not enjoy? The fundraising stuff, it's the only reason I like it. The only reason I don't enjoy it is it takes away from getting to the final product. Right? I mean, you're never going to be done on the product. It's all you want to get to your best MVP, right? You want to get to your iterations, your Gen 3s, your Gen 4. I think we're on Gen 6 at this point.
Nice.
But that's the part of it, is knowing kind of when to say no to things, because you know your business better than anyone else.
Exactly.
You can have all these advisors on the team, and apologies to any advisors out there that I haven't responded back to emails. It's just I'm trying to do what I know how to do. So that's it. But I enjoy prototyping, but at the same time, I mean, one of the hardest things about running a robotics company is you want to be playing in the lab. But being a manager of people and being kind of a CEO right now, we were talking to Ken. He's just downstairs. He was the CTO.
He loves it. He loves his life.
I'm envious of the guy.
His calendar is just like 3 things, and it's just like his calendar actually, his only thing today that he had to do was do this podcast, and he's like, I'm too busy. I was like, I was like, you guys are really busy. Don't even worry about it. But no, like his all he does is just like work for like 12 hours a day just designing robots. He loves it. Loves it so much. Wait, so are you a true CTO then? Like, do you think you'll become CTO eventually, or what do you think?
I'd like to be, but like the co-founder struggle is real, right?
Yeah.
You can't just go to that cofounderlab.com or whatever it is. Sponsor. If they want to be a sponsor.
I have a long story about that website. I forgot. I'm actually glad you brought it up. I've been trying to figure out what that website was called for about 2 years now, because I remember it back in the day.
It's bookmarked somewhere in the back.
Yeah, it was somewhere. I was trying to tell someone about it. Quick story. Basically, Co-Founders Lab is a cool idea. Lots of founders are on it.
Yeah.
But no one ever fucking used it. So I met like 100 people this way. I would find them on Co-Founders Lab, and then I would copy their LinkedIn, and then I would message them on LinkedIn, and my message said, "Hey, so I saw you on Co-Founders Lab. That place sucks. Let's talk on here." And every single person, I got like a 95% response rate. They'd be like, "LOL, yeah, it does suck. Let's talk on here." And the story is, one time I DM'd a guy, and I didn't realize it was the founder of Co-Founders Lab. And he goes, "I'm sorry, what?" And I was like, "Oh, haha, just kidding, like whatever." And I DM'd the Co-Founders Lab sucks to the founder of but then he goes, "Yeah, you're right, it does suck." And we hopped on a full call, and I like became a short-term like advisor for like a guy on his team, or like I did an hour long like this sucks, that sucks, that sucks. So it actually turned out well. But
so they got a free customer.
They got a free. Yeah, I was like, I was like, you all have like 50,000 members that are all sick founders, but no one uses it because anyways, dumb vent, but it's hard to find a co-founder basically.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. I mean, we try people out, and I'll put the onus of the blame on me for the most part on that. Usually, you probably don't explain it well or don't task well.
It's tough. It's tough, dude.
Yeah.
Delegating's tough.
Yeah. Like, because you don't want people to think that you're just giving them, I mean, like bullshit work to do. I mean, there is bullshit work to do. There's just things that need to be done. And so, but I think like we did it a weird way. I mean, I'm going through the Antler accelerator right now. It's an early stage VC firm. Kind of, I guess they were explaining it today. Their focus is there's a lot of companies that help with like kind of the Series A and things like that. But there's not a whole lot of companies that help with that pre-seed or that seed launch. The launch round is what they're calling it, the friends and family and fools thing. Yeah. Which I guess they're now calling it the launch round. But anyways, Antler saw a gap in that market, and so they're stepping in to help provide certain funding and help to like in terms of advising people on how to start your business and how to run it, and on the very early stage, setting up legal things like that. But their whole thing was like you want to find a co-founder, like the 5 stages of this, like the ideation and the team. And so
it's tough, man.
Yeah, ours was like we knew there was a problem because when we went to go tour the refinery at Phillips 66, and they had these 20 projects that they wanted to automate, these 20 operations that they wanted to automate at their plants. They were like, oh, and then the UT were like, oh, we can do those too, or something, or we can do these. And so we already knew there was a problem. Yeah. And so we weren't like a solution looking for a problem. A lot of startups I see are like, that's a lot of people thinking this is a good idea. Let me just go do this because I think it's cool. Exactly. And you got to fight that. You got to fight that really hard.
Yeah, exactly.
It might be really cool.
That was my first startup. We were a B2C marketplace for fitness programs, and I spent 4.5 years building it. Yeah. It was really fucking cool, but it just made no money. Yeah. And I just wasted like 4. I mean, I learned so many things, but like it was that exact thing you just mentioned. Like I was like, no, I swear people are going to love this, and people say they really want it, and then we launched it. I'm like, oh, sick. Okay, that's like not that cool.
Well, actually, people tell you they actually do it.
Exactly. Yeah, learn my lesson, man. Learn my lesson.
It's like you want to interview people, but you want to interview like a few different categories of people, right? You want to interview the person using your product. You want to interview the person supervising the person using your product. You want to interview the CEO of the company if you're a B2B company like we are. You want to interview the CEO of the company. You want to even interview the HR person. One of our big things is improving the environmental social governance scores of all these companies, because like Dow Chemical, for example, wants to reduce all their confined space entry of these like storage tanks and other assets to like by 2025 they want to get down to like 0 or something like that.
What is that score? Can you describe that a little bit more?
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it.
Okay, that's fair. Do you know a brief overview though? Like what it like?
Yeah, it's so either the company or the organization that started it. It's like a way for I guess a lot of companies put it on their prospectus, like their investor prospectus.
It's like a net promoter score, but for emissions, kind of.
Yes, it's not just emissions. It's like how they treat their employees. It's how they had any environmental disasters. Like I guess BP had would have like a really low ESG score back in the day. I'm sure they've taken. To be honest, I've heard that wasn't even really their fault. I heard it was like a subcontractor's fault. But I guess, anyways, not to support a BP, but Yeah, it's basically in how they run as a company, because I guess the trend these days is people want to eat organic, and they want to invest in companies that make them feel better about themselves, right?
Oh, fair enough. Okay, gotcha. That's what the score is kind of all about. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you guys help that score. Okay.
And we help that score. I mean, it's important. I mean, it's I'm not entirely sure how useful it is, but I think it's an important score. Mm-hmm. And I think if companies and inspection companies use our robot, I think they'd have a better case for a higher score. So that's
easy.
I'll learn more about it, and I'll get back to you.
there we go. So why did you guys name it Pike Robotics? Like, why is that the name?
I love that question. A lot of people think it's because I was a Pi Kappa Alpha, and
you named after your frat. Were you actually one though?
No.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Furthest thing from a fraternity boy. It looks like they have a lot of fun, but
you're like SAE Robotics. Yeah, you're like nice.
But no, it's so just like what we say is just like the back in the day in medieval times, the first weapon of defense was the pike, because it could like fend off invaders.
Oh, dude, that's a good name.
Yeah, and so just like the weapon of old, our tool is the first line of defense for helping reduce methane emissions in these storage tanks. So
very cool.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. And it also, one of the tools that we use to get inside the seal looks like that pike weapon.
Oh, gotcha. I think I have that in one of the pictures. We'll put that up.
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's touch on fundraising really quick. How has fundraising gone for you guys? Like, have you raised around? I know you have the UT stuff going on, but like, where are you guys at with that?
Yeah, so like kind of mentioned earlier, how we kind of did it back asswards, right? In terms of usually you do the ideation, then you do the team, and then you do the fundraising, and then you go to market and all that. So like Phillips, and I'm not going to disclose the amount of money they gave to us, but
you say Phillips?
Yeah, sorry, Phillips C6. Thank y'all for all the help so far, and helping us get to this point. They funded our graduate research project back in summer 2019.
Okay.
And so that sponsored research agreement ended with them in May of this year. But we still have a good partnership with them, access to their facilities to test the robot and all that good stuff.
Okay.
A lot of the development, a lot of the materials, a lot of the R&D time, my tuition came from their money, their investment in UT. Mine and another guy at UT was working on a different robot.
Is that like a scholarship thing, or do they have equity as well in the company?
So they have something in the contract about they get a non-exclusive right to use the technology, but they're not a robotics company, so they're not going to build. They're not like a competitor.
Build a better one.
Yeah. What they will get is like a discount on the use once this robot is fully certified for explosive environments. They'll get a discount on being able to use it in their facilities.
Very cool.
So we gotta work that out when we get down to it.
All right, have you guys started testing it yet, or where are you guys at?
Yeah, we're so we went to their Ponca City refinery up in Oklahoma.
Okay.
It's kind of like a little north of Stillwater, west of Tulsa. And we learned a lot from the tests up there, and we kind of took those lessons back and brought them back into our latest design.
Cool.
We're hoping to go back up there before the end of the year.
Very cool.
And we're also looking for tanks in San Antonio and Corpus and Houston area, just so that it would it'll be a little bit easier trip than Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So that we got funding from Phillips for that. And then we also received some money to kind of continue my time at UT through the Texas Innovation Center with Van Truscott and Ashley Jennings, who I mentioned earlier. And so they provided me a little scholarship to kind of continue working on the business, fleshing out refining the business model and things like that.
Cool.
And we also received a proof of concept award from UT.
Nice.
Just recently, and that's going to allow us to actually have talks with one of the biggest challenges with this is allowing the robot to operate in explosive environments. And so you have to have a lot of safety systems on board, which we've developed and are now testing.
Because you can't just have it like blow up in the
Yeah, one of the big things, like lightning strikes could come and hit these seals that are preventing the methane from leaking out of these tanks, and that can cause a fire. So we don't want to create our own lightning.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
When you have the motors moving, right, you're gonna have like kind of sparks from that, and so you have to do do things you got to have some systems on board to mitigate the chance of causing a fire within the tank.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so once we get this class 1 different certification, which the money that we got from UT is going to allow us to start having talks and start the process to certify this robot with these OSHA approved, nationally recognized testing labs.
Cool.
Once we have that, then we get that stamp of approval, and then gates wide open to start capturing some market share with these tanks. And so we're going to work with inspection providers and also work with tank owners to see what's the best way that they want to use this technology. So we're open to kind of figuring out because anytime you enter a new industry, you gotta play ball a little bit just to see,
for sure.
just to see what's palatable, what everyone likes. I mean, just because you have an idea of how to run a business model doesn't mean that's going to fly with. Kind of like you found out with your venture.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's nice that you guys have UT behind you. Like, you're not just like blindly going into these companies. Like, you have the head of the robotics and nuclear program, coming in. So he started the program, to clarify, or gotcha. Cool.
Yeah. So he started the program. I think it was him and another professor, Dr. Landsberger. So it's the nuclear comes from that initial contract with Los Alamos National Labs. Is from what I remember, that so we're like measuring radiation without having to, or gamma radiation without having to send like humans inside.
Gotcha. Okay. So, gamma radiation. I only know the whole stuff.
Apologies. That was never my project. So I'm sure I'm butchering some of the terminology.
Oh, you're good. You're good, man.
No one do a fact check on it. But he started that program like 17 years ago, and I think this is his first time he's actually worked with a student to kind of spin a technology out of the lab.
Good stuff, bro.
So we're excited. It's new for both of us. We're green to a lot of this, but with if the money from the National Science Foundation, talked about fundraising, so we applied for an SBIR grant, which
nice.
If there's any hard physical science technical founders out there, look into money from the government, because there's a lot out there. The National Science Foundation has these open topics that ours was robotics, obviously, and so if the government, in terms of the reviewers of these proposals, if they think that what you're proposing has value to the U.S. economy or the U.S. government, then they're gonna give you money to help you fund the development of this technology, so that we can further be not a superpower, but stay on the cutting edge of technology, which has been our bread and butter for the last 100 years, whatever.
Yeah, I have several buddies that have gotten SBIR grants, and like technically it's free money, but I know the process is very daunting though.
You gotta hit your milestones.
You have milestones. There's isn't there 5? There's SBIR 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, or no?
From what I know, it only goes to phase 2. They have a phase 3. That I think phase 3 is just
maybe 3 is the third one.
Phase 3 is just raising your money. I think.
No, guys.
We got to kick you out. We got to
get the fuck out of here.
Go do something, change the world, all that good stuff.
Very cool. Wait, how old are you? I never asked you.
I hate that question.
I couldn't ask.
I'm 30.
Okay, I'm 30 this year, so. I was like, you could be 25 or you could be like 31. So one of those ranges. So yeah, you shaved. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, that could be one of the two.
We went out after the party last night
on Sunday night.
Friday.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
At the
good times.
Fetty House.
Yeah, it was good times.
And so I didn't shave for that one. So
nice.
I think we went out afterwards, and I was getting a lot of this guy might be he could be 30, he could be 26. I don't know. He's one of those.
Well, in Austin, you don't know, you never know.
Yeah.
So how do you guys have competition? If you do, are there other people out there cleaning tanks, or so how do you guys differ from those guys?
Yeah. So there are a lot of companies that the tanks are big. These are big tanks, so they have a number of inspections. The main critical one is inspecting the tank floor to make sure there's no the thickness of it all the way around around the entire bottom surface area is like above like 0.2 inches, 0.15 inches, something like that. And so you want to make sure that the floor is really solid, so you don't have any product kind of leaking out, and because it's a huge fine. That's bad for business and bad for the health of people in the surrounding communities, stuff like that. So there's a lot of companies that are inspecting tank floors. Applied Impact Robotics, Diacont systems. So they're focused on that. I know Square Robot's working on that as well, and they have a pretty cool system that they've developed, and we've been in talks with them. But to answer your question about competition, no one's really working on the seals. No one's really working on inspecting the seals. And a first market advantage is never really an advantage, really. I mean, they teach you that in business class a lot, but in our case, it might be a little bit because
I think like we already have robots doing the job. You're just doing a different job.
We're doing a different job.
So you're like, I mean, well, you're like Lime scooters. Like Uber already made the headway in like renting, a vehicle temporarily, like a different driver, whatever. But then Lime's like, oh, I just scan this, just like I use my app to get into an Uber. It's like I just scan this and then whatever. It's like
it's a different use case.
I feel like it's different transportation. Someone else made, so like. People already made robots that go into the
bottoms of these tanks, and they also crawl on the outside as well.
Exactly, you've got robots everywhere, just like
Yeah, and so before long we'll be out of jobs. They took our job.
Yeah, it took our nerves.
I haven't watched South Park in years.
It's been a minute.
I need to catch back up. But yeah, when I'm able to breathe,
exactly.
That's all I say.
Dude, I watch a decent amount of TV at night, but like I just get like. I just work while I'm watching TV anyways. So I get very little like quality. I'm not working while I'm watching something time. So, but anyways, back to competition.
But the competition, so in terms of first market to move advantage, the deal with that is the process to certify one of these robots is lengthy and time consuming. I just said the same thing. I meant lengthy and costly, very costly.
Lengthy, time consuming, so much time.
So much time is.
Don't get me started on the time.
Synonyms. That's the Thorus.com is up there.
There you go.
So by the time, if another, obviously one of these robotics companies could come in and make their own version of what we have going on. I think the ability to have like a motion controller that allows us to deal with the friction associated with the mission and maintain a consistent, stable motion, and also the autonomous seal integrity computer vision algorithm that we have. That, along with the safety subsystems on board, it's going to be really hard for a company to replicate all those within. I mean, we've been working on this since 2019, so we've had a lot. We kind of got a good headway or good head start on that, and so could another company do it? Yeah, I mean, it's engineering. All this is just engineering. I mean, but it's one of those things that it takes time to do, and by the time someone else entered the market, we'd probably have a significant market share.
Oh, for sure.
Already moving into other use cases as well. But we also have a good pipeline of talent coming out of UT. Talking about the co-founder search, there's a guy who's thinking about joining me today for this, but he was too busy with classes and everything. But for any of the people working in labs and universities, like, just look around you. Like there's a lot of talent. Just and I hate to look at it as talent. It's just say talent. It's almost like you sound like you're.
They're people, Yeah, but we know you're not saying that. Yeah.
But it's I mean it's people that can go on this journey with you, because it is a fun journey. It's I mean it's a lonely journey if you don't have someone. It's even a lonely journey if you have someone, because not a lot of people are doing this thing. And
it's
I think
very lonely.
The only people that do this are really sick in the head or something like that.
Dude, there's so many times where I text people sometimes things and I'm like, they didn't need to know that, but I don't have a co-founder, so I want to tell somebody. But I'm just like, hey, we got this happened today, and they're like, oh, cool, and I'm like, why did I tell that person? I just want to get it off my chest.
Yeah,
like, especially when I have to vent in a negative way, I'm just like, no one cares. Like, I can't tell anyone. Like, I don't have a co-founder. Like,
a podcast.
This is me venting as a solo founder.
150,000 followers that we have.
That's what we do have that after this episode. Before that, it's like we got like a couple hundred, a couple thousand. Yeah.
That was part of my take. They always they just think someone had made this comment online that they make $85,000 every podcast or something.
Really?
Like that.
Damn.
So every now and then they go bring. They really don't. Every now and then they go bring that up. So made $85,000 this podcast.
Nice. We'll get there eventually.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, so good pipeline of talent out of UT. And then I think we also have some good partnerships with the companies that actually, or the lead manufacturer of the company that actually makes these seals. So
Cool. Very smart. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. So keeping a good relationship with them is very important for us. And it's also important for them too, because if the company could also not just make these really world-class seals that go around these tanks, but also have a way to accurately inspect them that is easy for these tank owners, then that's huge.
Easy money, man.
Yeah. And like I said, Phillips is also a good partner. So we have the technical know-how, we have the first market advantage, and we also have these really good partnerships with the industry leaders. And so, yeah.
Very cool, man. I think you guys are going to dominate. What is a day-to-day like for you? Because I'm trying to figure out like how much of a CEO you are, or like, are you the guy like working on the robot every day? Like, what is your day-to-day?
Yeah. That's another fun question. Right now, it's mainly just like open my Google Calendar, and I see what kind of commitments I
just and cry.
Every day. Obviously, I was looking forward to this podcast, but I did forget about it until.
I know you did. I was like, where you at?
No. I was like, I saw it this morning, and I was like, oh yeah, I got to do that. So, but it really is just like looking at your calendar, like, oh, I agreed to talk to this person. But an ideal day for me would really be having like a stand-up meeting with my team. Everyone talks about the agile methodologies. That's the new for software. But you can also use it for hardware.
Yeah.
So it's really having a stand-up meeting with your team, letting them know it's like, hey, we found out that this is really an important capability to have for the robot, and so let's work on developing this, making sure that when I was an engineer, I'd probably focus on the things that were fun to do, but making sure your team is kind of focused on those priorities that are the most important. So because what we need to do is get to where we can successfully do a mission around one of these big tanks. That's the main thing we need to do. And then all the other bells and whistles, not important.
Yeah.
And so making sure your team's focused on the priorities. And so that's mainly what I do, just on Slack all the time, on emails. A lot of times they'll tell me they need certain materials. I'm buying these materials, putting in purchase orders for these things. And then the other part of what I'm doing, I mean, UT has been, they've been great. Another thing, we got a team of Macomb students, some MBA students, and also engineers and a psychology student and a law student. And so they put together this Texas Venture Labs, puts together this team of, we have 4 students that are basically 5 students that are actually doing customer discovery for us.
Very cool. Oh yeah, very cool. Yeah.
So I actually had a meeting with them before I came on the podcast, kind of like saying, hey, we're going to reach out to these customers, and really it's good because it keeps you from doing tunnel vision, because you might really think you know what the customer wants, but it's because you've been in this tunnel vision so long.
Exactly.
And so they're doing this high level understanding to make sure that we're solving the right thing. And so I think that's a good thing to have. And so talking with them, kind of helping to manage that team, giving them the things they need to be successful. And then I do also give myself a technical task. So whether I'm working on some odometry for the robot, or improving the motion controller, or just doing a test of the robot on our mock-up at UT, just our mock-up of a tank at UT that we have outside the robotics lab there.
Wait, how big is it's like, what is it?
It's actually like 12 feet long.
Cool.
We have a kind of a full mock-up of what one of these seals looks like. It's like a secondary, it's like a triangle almost. You get like a secondary seal up here that's the vapor seal, then you have a primary seal that's right here that's keeping the liquid at bay.
Cool.
And so the vapor space is kind of in between our robot operates in that space. And so we running tests, and then basically I try to tell my team, it's like, let's just learn something today. Like at the end of the day, if we didn't meet whatever we wanted to get done, it's like, as long as we learn something that we can like go to sleep and be thinking about. Right?
Yeah.
So, and then I think that's a good thing to have, to go to sleep and have like something done that you can like kind of ruminate on and kind of think about how to solve it for the next day.
My problem is like going to bed and having too many things that I did and being like, shit, I need to like.
And you take like Lexapro and
I'm like I'm just like, dude, come on, dude. Melatonin helps, obviously. You know, get passed out.
Mushrooms once a quarter.
Hey, there you go. I've actually never done mushrooms though. Man, I need to.
Yeah,
I probably should. No, I really haven't, but I probably should at some point. It's a tech podcast. Everyone's done mushrooms.
Yeah.
I haven't though, so I feel like I would lose my mind on mushrooms though. So
I may know a guy.
Yeah, there you go. I definitely know a guy. No, I used to live with a guy. So, do you guys think you'll be in Austin for a long time, or do you think you're gonna like? I mean, you have like the whole UT situation here. Do you think you'll eventually expand to like a bigger city or something like that?
Yeah, so I'd love to be in Austin. Love it. It's a great town. Got a paddleboard. I don't want to have to sell a paddleboard.
Yeah, exactly.
But our customers are in Houston.
Yeah.
The greater Houston area. I mean, Beaumont as well. I mean, Corpus. I mean, down there around Bay City. So we probably, in the short term, I probably need to move shop a little bit closer to them, just for a few reasons, just to be able to iterate on the design a little bit faster. And I mean, and also this industry is, I mean, they're still, I mean, they're on the cutting edge. They are investing in all these different advanced technologies, not just robotics, but they do appreciate kind of the old way of doing things, where you see a person, you
shake their hand,
make sure that you're not bullshitting them, not selling any snake oil or whatever. So
exactly,
and it's I enjoy the industry. We went to a trade show in San Antonio recently at the American Petroleum Institute. They put on one every 2 years, and it was a really fun. I mean, talking and drinking with them at the Grand Hyatt till like 2 a.m. was really fun.
Dude, those are the best when you get post conference like drunk with people. And it also, it's like
all the stuff comes out.
The best conversations, the best like, dude, I fucking hate this company. Like you're like, yes, dude. It's not stuff that you can like tweet about or tell your friends about, but it's just good. It's just cool to know,
cool,
you know, like just man, it's cool.
So I like the industry, and we probably will need to be in Houston at some point. But I'll. You never know. Maybe I can have 2 houses. You know.
There you go. Hey,
2 houses.
That's the goal for this. This company.
Well, the goal is to help people. Sorry.
People help people. Sorry, my bad.
We can do both. You can do both.
You can do both. You can do both at the same time. Yeah. Well, cool, man. I mean, do you have anything you want to conclude with? We already told the audience that like if there's people that are looking for a job, especially in the UT area in robotics, like if you're a good co-founder, there we go. Like anything else that you want to bring up?
No, like I said, if y'all have any questions, I mean, obviously I'm really bad about responding to emails sometimes, but if
can attest.
If you, I guess what they say about if you want like someone to like, even I have to do this. If you want like a mentor to talk to, is like do something that they really admire, like maybe donate to their charity or help out with something that they really are really involved in. Then they'll make time for you, right? So maybe like you want to
donate to the car's charity.
No, I didn't mean it like that. There's people that are. This whole process has really been a humbling experience. I mean, you think you're the smart guy on the block, and then you meet the smart guy on the block.
Yeah.
And you're
nice to meet you.
Smart guy on the block. So it's you're not the other thing. I guess I'm just sharing a lesson at this point, but know when to know when you're doing something that is not your specialty, right? Like know when. Don't let your ego get in the way. I mean, I like to know I like to know how to do everything. I like to know how to build everything. I like to know how to program everything. But there's only 24 hours in the day, and most of those you're sleeping, or some of those you're sleeping. And so it's just be wary, just be cognizant of that you're just a human, and you have like a limited capacity to do things. And that's why a team is so important.
Exactly.
Make sure you got a team, and then that's. I guess that's the best way I know to say that.
That's why we strive.
Yeah, that's why we strive.
Good stuff,
Thanks,
man.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Bam. I wanted to thank you for watching this entire episode of Why We Strive. Be sure you head to whywestrive.com and subscribe, so every Tuesday you can see incredible interviews with some of the best tech founders, investors, and creatives in the industry. Have an amazing day, and don't forget to keep striving.